What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the NerdGen Report. I'm your host, Pablo. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Brian Schultz. Yes, it is time. It was already playing. I sort of ignored what I saw, and now we're going to watch it fresh. And Brian hasn't seen any of it, so Brian has done something he's never done before, which is get on the show.
While I'm on the road, live, remote, and I'm looking up, Pablo. I'm following.
So I've been posting, I've been going live, just talking about what this Superman movie is supposed to be. I had a conversation with Freddie and Tracy yesterday about it, and Freddie's just said it. James Gunn understands the assignment. Brian, we sort of have to break that down at some point, but we are going to now watch the Superman trailer.
Crypto.
I ain't going front, Brian. That looks dope.
Take me home.
Superman.
From watching those 2 minutes, it reminds me, obviously, of the first iteration of Superman on screen, but I guess sort of reimagined and elevated, and really honing in on how Christopher Reeve really explored who Superman was, right? And I think they're going back to that, and that's what I feel, and to me, I think he is going to achieve that.
So the color palette is really bright. You could see that in the little teaser of the teaser, but I think in the 2 minutes, I don't think we saw a single shot that was really at night. I mean, even the one nighttime shot where they're in the apartment, it's like there's bright lights outside. Like everything is, I mean, he is as blue and red and yellow as could be. That's the first thing that kind of was like, I expected it to be bright. It looks like brighter than bright. You know, it's funny. You got the Reeve. They've released a little bit of the score, which is sort of, and you hear it in this, which is sort of like a rock and roll version of like a modernization of the Williams theme, which is a little concerning. Like it does, and even the font, I texted to you, the font looks like a little bit like what they used in Superman the movie, the credits, like in the beginning. So they're clearly riffing a little bit on the Donner era. But I'll allow it because it did feel different enough. And actually, in terms of the action, which I think they showed way more of than I expected, I was almost getting a little more of the vibes of like the animated series or the Justice League series. Like just in the sense of like the world building and like the way the action was being shown. Because the Reeve Superman, he doesn't really cut loose until Superman 2. And so in this one, it felt much more like an episode of the animated series where it's like you see the other villains and the other heroes in the world intersecting in some of these pretty cool, what looks like pretty cool action set pieces. So I actually was getting vibes of the animated world a little bit watching this as much as the live action one. Although the shot that you have pulled up right now, that was a pretty dramatic way to start things. Not going to lie. Seeing Superman beat up like that in the snow, that was kind of eye-openingly cool.
That because now we wonder how did he end up here? How did Superman is messed up? How did that happen?
It also goes to your point. He's always the one that gets got right from the first second of his own trailer.
So already he's down. I ain't gonna lie, him calling Crypto, and that was dope. I liked it a lot. What else did you get from?
I think so. In the category of positives, I do have a few things I'm concerned about, and we can rewatch it at some point, maybe. But like, I think it also stamped itself as distinct from prior Superman iterations. I think that was important for this teaser to do, and I think they did that in the sense of the world looks a little different. The characters look different. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor looks good, I think. And I think the way they use the action in this lets you know, like, this is not Superman Returns. This is not Man of Steel. And while there are homages to the Donner Superman, it looks different enough that I'm kind of like, okay, you've at least convinced me that the world James Gunn has created is different than the Superman worlds we've lived in previously. Yeah, good shot. He looks really sinister here.
Yes. But he looks like Lex.
Yeah.
He looks like the Lex that we've been sort of imagining the comics will sort of pay homage to, and especially the Lex in the Justice League Unlimited and Justice League were great. Even the Superman, and who voiced him? It was this dude, right?
Clancy Brown.
Yes.
Clancy Brown, who, I think if you're a fandom person, Clancy Brown has been in your life for 40 years. He was the Kurgan in the original Highlander. He was Lex Luthor throughout the animated. He is General. He was General Eiling in the Flash TV show. And he obviously is now Sal Maroni in the Penguin. Like, this is a guy who has been all over this genre as that guy for 40 years.
Yeah.
And his Lex is the definitive Lex right now. Like, that's the one that Nicholas Hoult is gunning for.
Yes. And I think by the looks of this shot, he says nothing. We don't see the character. We don't see the I'm assuming, Brian, that he is going to play, or Superman, there's going to be like what's it called? Love triangle.
Yeah, I'm going to try to find a quote while we're talking, because James Gunn said something I thought was really, I think, validating and promising about this that you're talking about. And I think your answer is yes. I think the answer is there is going to be some kind of sexual tension between him and Lois in this movie. Or at least maybe it's not requited. Maybe he's pining after her, but there's something. But Gunn made a comment about really doubling down on the lack of origin story. I can't find the quote right now. If I do, I'll pass it along. But he said something of, we are being dropped into the world. And he's like, Lex already hates Superman. He's like, we know that's supposed to happen. That's already happening. And I kind of was like, good. I don't necessarily need to see the origins of like a friendship gone bad the way Smallville did it or whatever. Like, I get it. like he's supposed to be his foil. So James is kind of saying, look, we're entering this world where they already are, arch rivals.
Check this out. I'm hoping you can hear him. Can you hear?
Yeah, I hear Brian.
All right.
Okay.
Come on, Brian.
What's going on, man? I can hear you.
So. What's going on, Brian? Can you hear me?
How much, man? My
he can hear you.
My heart's racing. I think by and large, they did a good job. By and large, they did a good job. I have questions, but they did a pretty good job here. The legacy of Superman promotion is intact. We generally get good Superman promotion.
Okay. I when he whistled, I knew it was.
Yes. What do you think of the sort of the score being turned into almost? Because Brian had a little bit of a concern with that sort of, I guess, rendition. No, that rendition of it almost reminded me of Beverly Hills Cops 3, where every piece of music was that damn, So they did that with sort of with the theme music. They did more like with the rock tone, So I don't know, but it could be cool. I don't know. But one thing, go ahead.
Some of that's for the trailer. So there's a quote from the composer John Murphy where he said that he does have the nods to the Williams theme, which you're hearing, but that most of the score is original music and not using the Williams music. So I'm okay with that. I'm just commenting that in this trailer, in the teaser material, we are hearing the Williams score, which they're clearly signaling like a homage to Richard Donner Superman, and I just don't want it to be we're hostage to Richard Donner Superman the way that Bryan Singer was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I agree with. But so far, any of the fears that I had with, Gunn's sensibility or Gunn's humor, it may still be there, but, hey, maybe this is the first time in a long time we've seen James Gunn's work on the planet Earth. Usually with aliens and stuff, he can do whatever he wants. This one, to see his human component, to see the human component. You can say Suicide Squad, but that's more of a hit and run type movie. They're going to come in, do the action, get out of it, and then you'll get the backstory. Here, once again, he's in the midst of something, and then we get the backstory, and then he has to build out framing. He has to build out this universe.
What did you think of? So I got this shot here, Brian. What do you think of Luthor Corp? I don't know if I would name a company Luthor Corp because it sounds crazy. Lex Corp sounds more cool, but Luthor Corp. What do you think about Luthor Corp?
That wasn't on my list of total concerns. I mean, I think there were a few things I had more questions about than that. It's fine. I mean, it's one of those where it's like that you get used to the name if Nicholas Hoult sells you the character.
Yeah.
I think to Tracy's point though, one of the big questions to me with this set of characters is Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, Creature Commandos. We know that James Gunn can write the sort of lovable loser, lovable rogue character. That's what he's really known for. But that's not really what Superman is, right? Superman is not a lovable loser. And neither is Lex, and neither is Lois, right? These are more kind of alpha like archetypes, and more heroic type characters or villainous characters. So this is where I think we're going to see Gunn's range. Can he do that just as well? At least in the trailer, Corn Sweat I think comes off looking pretty darn good, except for maybe his hair as Clark, where he kind of looks like Cillian Murphy on steroids. But other than that, I think he does look heroic as Superman. But that little bit where he's beat up in the snow, he sounds vulnerable and human. And what Gunn has said is like he wants his Superman to be a fundamentally good individual struggling to stay good in a world of conflict.
There was a shot here because he's staying away from Origins, but there was a shot here where it shows, I guess, the creation of his Fortress of Solitude. Did you see that?
I gotta look back at it. Yeah. And there's a whole component where I said, will we get that big, massive key from the 1950s, or will we get the little key that he leaves in the snow that no human being or no machinery can ever lift while it's on the planet? So I guess we'll get some more Kryptonian science, but the fact that the dog did not bother me.
It didn't. It didn't bother me either. I thought it would, but let's see. It's too early.
Hey, Brian, it was almost like when Lucas said, "If this puppet Yoda doesn't work, the movie shot." Yes.
But here's the
if Yoda doesn't work, the movie shot.
So here's the quote from Gunn. Here's the quote from Gunn I was talking to Pablo about before. Quote, "We just start in the middle of the action. Superman already exists. Lois and Clark already know each other, and Lex hates Superman's guts from the beginning, although they don't yet know each other personally." End quote. Like, I think that's great. I think that's basically like, it respects the fans. It respects the origin. It's like, I don't need to spend 25 minutes of this movie on Krypton or doing the before they knew each other or spending all day in Kansas. Like, we get it. We know all of those beats. Like, I can reference them when I need to, but I just want to get to my story. And I think that's the right way to approach this.
Yeah. Man, I agree 100%. We don't need to see none of that. I mean, although again, we'll see hints perhaps, and that's fine. And then, as you can see in this shot, he's paying homage to the Donner film with how this looks, bro.
So here's his quote. "I think obviously the original Donner movie influenced me, but there's also a lot of things that this isn't. Like, I'm not making a Donner movie. It's very different from that." End quote. So he's trying to avoid the Bryan Singer mistake.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there are hints of it. There's homage to it. And I think, again, the problem with Superman Returns, it was trying to do a retelling of the first one. That's what it was. Yeah. So it just didn't make sense in terms of how they did that, because that movie could have done, Brian, if everything would have been different in terms of the story, perhaps that movie would have been much better.
Well, that movie also falls victim to Kevin Spacey just basically riffs on Gene Hackman, who was basically being a caricature of Lex, not being Lex. See, like when I see Nicholas Hoult, he does not look like he's messing around in this trailer. Like, he looks like he wants to be a sadistic, diabolical CEO villain, and that's what we want from Lex. We've always wanted. So yeah, let's talk about the heroes. I'm a little lukewarm on the appearance of the combination of Mr. Terrific. I think there's a couple Green Lantern shots with a funny haircut in there too.
Yes.
These were not my favorite shots in this teaser. I like that we're being introduced to a world that looks different. I'm not totally sold. I don't know what your thoughts are. I kind of like Superman more visually than what I got from these.
I didn't mind it either, because all we got is shots and not real action. I thought he's paying. He's bringing these characters to life, Brian. That's what I can say. I think he's just actually what these guys look like in the comics. We're bringing them to life and making them look cool. And the colors, everything says comic book live action right here.
One question I would have, and I might suspect the trailer is doing this, I bet some of these shots where you're getting of the other heroes, they're not in the movie much more than they are in the trailer. Meaning, like, you're seeing like the one scene that they're in. Like, I'd be curious to see how often like Hawkgirl is in this movie. You know what I mean? But you get a shot of her. So
yeah,
that would be classic trailer stuff to make you think there's a lot of it, and it's not really a lot of it.
Yeah, Mr. Terrific looks terrific. And the Solitude being built, that was excellent. It kept the old standard that is crystal.
Yes.
Architecture.
Yes.
Matrix.
So interestingly, I thought the single best Superman shot we've gotten to date is in the teaser of the teaser. It's not in this. The shot of him, the shot of the camera over his shoulder while he's flying, which I think looks incredible, is not in the actual trailer. It's only in the teaser of the teaser. But that looks amazing.
And that's fine too. And that's fine. He's showing us little things. He's doing Brian, this guy, he knows social media. He knows how he knows what to give us in terms of enough to keep us there for the entirety of this movie and not having seen everything. You know what I'm saying? So
here's your. I got a quote on that.
Go ahead.
This is Gunn.
Okay.
This is Gunn talking about Superman in action and how he's trying to do it for IMAX. We shoot a lot of our action with drones flying in and around Superman and the people that he's flying with, engineer, whoever else that he's fighting up in the air. So note that, fighting up in the air. We got these really small, crazy drones now. We got some of the very best flyers in the world working with them, end quote. So that's the tech. That's a little bit of the clue as to what he's giving you that we haven't really seen before in terms of visual Superman. And that's not really in this trailer. That's not really in this trailer at all.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It was.
I think that's good because it separates him from Zack. Zack's style was Superman so fast and powerful that we should be barely able to see him, and that was one of the negatives I had with Zack Superman. When he flew, he was just gone. And I understand you're trying to capture this is how powerful, but as a movie goer sitting in the audience, I would like to see it in some type of simulated manner that I can actually see it, not nowhere in my brain. Oh, he's so fast you can't.
Basically, like when he's fighting Zod and also fighting in Smallville, like it's at real time or accelerated speed. So I think his view is and I think he shot most of it single cam, shaky cam. So you're kind of seeing like as Superman moves, like you're kind of like moving kinetically with him. I noticed with Gunn, I made this comment to Pablo the other day, everything looks steady cam to me. So like when you're seeing Superman fight, the camera's kind of sitting there and then Superman's moving or doing what he's doing, but you're kind of grounded and it does change your perspective. Even the over the shoulder flying shot in the teaser, Superman feels more centered. Like you can just feel it for that split second. Like he's flying, but you're kind of like perched on his shoulder as he's flying. So I think it is giving you something a little different than we've seen before, which I think is critical to the success of this movie, especially because he shot it with IMAX cameras.
Stag Industries, Trey, you're familiar with that?
Well, Maxwell Lord and Stag was also Metamorpho. Remember Stag, if you watch Justice League, the cartoon, Metamorpho was in love with the girl whose father owned Stag Industries. Stag Industries is the company that created Metamorpho. That's why Metamorpho's in this movie, because if hey guys, reference the old Justice League Cartoon Network episode, Green Lantern and his best friend, Metamorpho. But what's the name of the company? Stag.
Okay.
Stag Industries.
Let me ask you this. Does James Gunn do a good job in making it believable that you're unable to tell the difference between Superman and Clark Kent?
I think he does a stereotypical one demeanor, posture is a little different, but if you were really a detective, you look past those things. With Bruce probably just figured out, that's Superman. You guys are looking at the outside. I'm watching his mannerism. And Brian, I look at the shape of his face. I can look at the lines. I can tell, but then Bruce is saying, I'm not the only detective on the planet. Somebody else is probably saying, hey, that guy Clark Kent. And he can weave and dart and bob and not be seen, and as they did in the All-Star comic episode where he was basically a slob. This guy looks like... And of course, Brian, you would never assume that this guy is Superman, but then that's the rules of it.
I'm going to call it right now. Superman. I'm going to call it right now. Clark Kent is going to be funny as hell.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, damn man, why he had to go?
To throw people off.
Yeah.
To throw people off.
So, we didn't get a lot of Rachel.
This shot to me, we gotta see. This is a TBD.
Yes,
because here the hair looks goofy, and it looks like he's trying to do like a silly version of Christopher Reeve, and like maybe that's not doing him
Superman
justice.
Returns all over again.
Superman Returns all over. This looks a little shaky to me. We got to see this.
That looks exactly like a shot in Superman Returns. So yeah, we didn't get a lot of Lois Lane talking or anything like that, which is great.
No, we got very little dialogue, which is fine. I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, me too.
Where does this rank? I don't think they beat the Man of Steel teaser. I still think that's the best single Superman promotion start that we've seen. I still would have that higher than this.
Yeah, because he showed a dope shot of him flying and that was dope. And that was dope.
I think this is very good. I don't think it's quite as good as that.
Yes. I think it's very good. I think the next trailer will be, I would assume, Super Bowl will be the one we look out for in terms of seeing probably a little bit more and building a little bit more excitement.
I think there'll be the last trailer will probably have more dialogue in it, but I'm kind of hoping they don't show that much more action. There's way more action in this than I would have expected. I don't need to see a lot more action than this.
Yes. I don't want the trailer to be the whole movie, and I don't think with this we did not get the whole movie. Thank God we did not get the whole movie.
Yeah,
but the next trailer you're gonna expect some type of exposition. It can't be just him zipping and flying around. Yeah. I gotta give some type of exposition because even right now, every pundit in the world is gonna, it's this, it's that, it's leading to this.
But again, he did a good job of not really. We haven't. Yes. Most of these guys didn't say nothing. You know.
He did a good job. Last trailer, I bet you get at least one line from Clark / Kal-El, one line from Lois, and one line from Lex. Like I think you'll get at least one from all three in the final trailer. But I don't think we need it before then.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the Superman trailer. It wasn't disappointing whatsoever. There's still a lot more to, I guess, explore with how many you know there's so many ways he can cut this, I'm sure. And the hope is that he doesn't overdo it, but still gives us something to really get even more excited, because that's the plan. That's hopefully his plan, to get us even more excited each time out. Last words, Brian?
Look, I mean, it probably was an almost impossible bar. I don't know that he shattered the bar, but he did nothing to deter my excitement for the movie, which I think at this point is all. They've got my money, they've got my excitement. Make me go see this 3-4 times. That's really you're talking about what's the assignment practically? The assignment practically is you need to make us go see it 3-4 times and tell all our friends, if you don't see this in IMAX, your life will be incomplete. That's the assignment.
Yeah. Tracy, anything?
I think it hit the mark on the dot. I think it was a bow and arrow shot. It hit the mark, and it registered what he said. It's going to be emotional, which they all have been. Maybe Man of Steel, maybe Zach's aesthetic is not as emotional, but this was emotional. And of course, I'll be back there again. And this teaser is going to be watched over and over and over.
Oh, yeah. They're dissecting it right now.
And dissecting it right now.
I'm waiting for Emergency Awesome.
Everybody will have an opinion, as usual. But the ingredients that we wanted, I think we got. I think the fear factor is over.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of concern, but we'll see.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We don't have to. We don't have to worry. The only worry is what we see during the movie. We're gonna be in those chairs with excitement from beginning to end, because I think he's doing a fantastic job of giving us enough to talk about, but not really giving it all to us, so that we're just sitting there, just putting all. I mean, I guess these guys are gonna put all the pieces together. Pretty sure they're doing it now. We're gonna get more and more, and we can pretty much talk about at some point what this movie will be and how it sets up the next one, in terms of when we get more trailers. But he's given us enough to keep us excited, and hopefully he cuts this in ways that is different than the previous and gets us even more excited. So
the reaction from Marvel with the Fantastic Four once this teaser is acclaimed and the hype and not to be outdone. Will there be immediate reaction, or do you guys think that Marvel will wait, let Superman get his little run, and then we'll?
Oh yeah, they're gonna wait. They wait. They try to post today some Daredevil stuff, and I'm like, I don't care what you post.
Hey.
Today is Superman.
I was like, hey Daredevil, look up.
Superman Day.
Yeah.
Superman Day.
Yeah. I mean, I think in a few weeks they'll do the Fantastic Four because they haven't officially posted anything yet.
So Marvel will react and they will show something.
Yes.
They will do something.
They have to. So yeah, we'll see you next time on the NerdGen Report.
The show goes on.